The other is by Baba Ramdev. And the third, some of us, about 15 of us, people who have held high positions, people who have been members of the directors in the United Nations, people who have been director of the IB, people who have been great chartered accountants, that kind of thing. 15 people were assembled, and they said, we said that Anna is working for a new law. Baba Ramdev is mobilizing the rural masses. And we need at least another team which will use the present laws, and till the new law comes, get action so that people can have confidence that something is happening. And that committee is called Action Committee Against Corruption in India. And yesterday, in the evening, all three forces, in my opinion, should work together, but we haven't yet been able to persuade Anna Hazare's people that that is necessary. But Ramdev and myself yesterday addressed a joint meeting in the evening, one of the largest meetings ever. So the movements are there and will take place. We know how to get action. For instance, this judgment the Singhvi and Ganguly have given to me on the sanction for prosecution. Originally, I had asked for sanction to prosecute Raja. I sent a letter to the PM, and the PM didn't reply to my letter. I sent 5 letters, he didn't reply to any one of them. That was a bit surprised because I know him so well. He replies to every other letter of mine. So why didn't he reply? Finally, I said, instead of embarrassing him and asking him, I'll go to the High Court. And I went to the High Court dismissed my petition. Then I went to the Supreme Court, and it came before these 2 great judges. And they have laid down a new law that, number 1, sanction, if you apply, it should be not more than 4 months, 3 months plus 1 month if you want to, if the sanctioning authority wants to consult the Attorney General. And after 4 months, if you do not give sanction or deny sanction, then it shall be assumed that you have given the sanction. They have said that this requires a parliamentary amendment, but it's a Supreme Court observation, so it's already in a sense de facto law. They also said one thing which was very, very, very extraordinary, which the media didn't cover adequately, and that is that earlier on, if I went to, say, the CBI or to the police and said, here is my information about a commission of an offense of corruption, please investigate. And if the person is a public official, the police will say, where is the sanction? And you will not get be able to pursue. Now, the court, through Justice Ganguly's observations, has now laid down very clearly that as far as asking for investigation is concerned by any citizen, you don't need sanction. You can get an investigation done by any police, any CBI, any enforcement directorate. So if you find any officers here, and it's a local offense which the Bombay police has to investigate, you can now give it and quote this judgment and say, no, now I don't need sanction for investigation. So this is another major development that has taken place with the pursuing of under the existing laws. The laws getting confirmed, amended by the Supreme Court. So here is another example of what an average citizen can do. He documents it, goes to the agency and gives it. If they don't give it, then you can always go to the High Court and say, they are not doing duty. Like I went to the Supreme Court and said, the Prime Minister is not replying to my letters. And for the first time in the history of, in my opinion, the history of the world, perhaps Pakistan is number 2, but we are number 1, where the Supreme Court has issued notice to the Prime Minister of India to explain why he didn't reply to a letter. The principal was saying, who is Swamy? He is just an ordinary citizen. How can he write to the Prime Minister? Now after this order of the Supreme Court, he is keeping quiet on that. He is talking about other things now. He is talking more about BJP. He doesn't talk about me. Because if he talks about me, I'll give it back to him. So I think, you know, these are all developing things. These movements need to be supported. Anna Hazare has got a long tradition. After all, I represented Bombay for 2 parliament terms. I know how on local issues he fought, laid down his life. I mean, at the risk of his life, he has done it. Baba Ramdev is got a tremendous following, particularly in the poorer and backward classes. And if all of us combine, it will be a major thing. And for that, of course, it will mean that the Anna team has to get rid of its aversion to politicians. You can't do without politics in India. You need party politics because that's part of democracy. We need to clean up the parties also. And you need to elect good candidates. What you can do in an election, for example, to minimize corruption, is you look at the candidates. Which of them is the best? Don't say that I am none of the above. That's an escapism. Least worst, if not the best. And tell that candidate whether he's going to win or lose. Don't bother about that. You tell him, don't come to my area. I will mobilize the votes in my area. And you go somewhere else. Because one of the biggest headaches is, I've been elected 5 times to Parliament, and I find the biggest headache each time is that at that time everybody wants you in their area, and it's too big an area to go in a 15-day election period. And in the end, what happens is that you start spending money, sending volunteers, and so on and so forth. Therefore, to minimize expenditure, each of you in your area select a candidate who you think is the best and should represent you. And then tell that person, don't come to our area. We will mobilize for you, and we will ensure that the voter goes to the booth on the day of voting. This is another thing that you can do. Big things can come by accident. You know, big issues of catching some minister and putting him in jail and all these can come at any time without your expectation. I never thought that I would get so deeply into the fight of corruption. It just came. It was just a simple thing. I was sitting at home reading. 2 officers came at 9 p.m. and knocked on the door. And when I opened it, I recognized one of them. I said, hey, what are you doing here? He said, I have to talk to you. So I said, come on in. I brought him in. And then he said that he was somebody in the telecom ministry, and what happened that day, which I didn't know, was terrible. He said, what had happened? He said, Raja had issued a press release saying that all applicants, first he said everybody should apply, then he sent out word that after 1st October 2007 he will not consider any application. And then after that was over, on the 10th of January he issues a notice saying that well, even up to October 1, 2007, too many applications come. So I am arbitrarily putting it at the first cutoff on 25th September 2007. After everything is closed, that was totally illegal. Of course, the courts have struck it down. And then he says that all those who applied before 25th September, those who can come between 3:30 and 4:30 with a demand draft of 1650 crores, not 1650 rupees, but 1650 crore rupees, they will be given the letter of intent. Now, when does he issue that second press release? At 2:45 p.m. Says 3:30 to 4:30 you come. And he doesn't put it out in any TV or radio or any. He puts it out in the ministry website. Reliance on Telecom and Unitech have already got 1650 crores demand draft in their pocket, and they are sitting in the minister's office. So they have no problem. Similarly, others also. So that kind of thing they had seen, and so there was a rush there, you know, of all those 575 applications they were at that time of October 1. And all those people rushing, they brought gundas and hit them, threw them out, and all kinds of melee took place. So the officers were shaken, they came and told me that this has happened. And so there are people today in every sphere you find who are willing to stand up if they can find somebody else ready to take up their cause. So I would say, don't be pessimistic under any circumstance. This society, according to me, the great days of India are near. We will become a world power and a world economic power. But all this churning is necessary before we achieve that goal. But the most important thing that we can do, have a positive attitude. Yes, we will make India a great country which will stand on its own feet. That's the commitment. So I would urge you in the end, and I found that this response against corruption is so widespread that it's shaking everybody. Everybody is now talking about fighting corruption. Even the corrupt are saying that I will fight. That's the climate change. And therefore, I urge you all to take a pledge that we will resist corruption. You don't have to come and stick your neck out. I mean, tomorrow, make sure that you are doing it in such a way that somebody can't single you out. But at least in your mind, it should be there, and in your personal conversations, you should be able to infuse this spirit. Yes, fighting corruption is our #1 problem. Thank you very much.
I think one of the points that you made is that there are 3 sets of people fighting corruption. You are in touch with 2 of them. We would, at Mahila Foundation, we are doing our little bit by educating people. We would like to join your effort in any way we can. What is more important is that you hope that India Against Corruption would join this effort also. So I think no better occasion than asking Mayank Gandhi of India Against Corruption here to talk to you. They are fully supporting both of you. That's why I want to demonstrate it. Mayank, please come.
I should be given 30%.
Sir, this is our program. Sir, this is our program. Dr. Swamy is our guest. Mayank Gandhi has asked us well in advance, so we will see. There is no demands. First, Mr. Mayank Gandhi.
They belong themselves. They are
we are not having a debate here, sir.
Sit down. Sit down.
Sir, please sit down. This is not the forum to raise these views here.
Yes.
Let Mr. Mayank Gandhi speak first.
Then I will answer.
That is your issue. Then they will allow you.
It's public issue. It's India's issue.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for a wonderful speech. We have come here to felicitate you for the wonderful work that you are doing in fighting corruption. I just would like to take 2 minutes. Movements are fought over a long period of time. Should I speak in Hindi? आंदोलन होता है या लंबा होता है? महात्मा गांधी 1917 में उन्होंने चंपारण से शुरू किया 1947 में हमें आजादी मिली। आंदोलन में जीत हार नहीं होती है, इसका एक मोमेंटम होता है, उतार चढ़ाव होता है। और इसके जो 3 प्रकार होते हैं लड़ने के, वो 3 है। मास मोबिलाइजेशन, लोगों को इकट्ठा करना। एडवोकेसी, जैसे हम लोगों के साथ पीपल इन पावर है उनके साथ बातचीत करके काफी चेंजेस आ सकते हैं। और एक लोकशाही में जो तीसरा है वो है जुडिशियल इंटरवेंशन। तो ये 3 तरीके से हम लड़ सकते हैं। और मैं देख रहा हूं लास्ट भ्रष्टाचार के विरुद्ध लास्ट 3 साल से लड़त बहुत जोर से शुरू हो गई है। जैसे 2G, कॉमनवेल्थ गेम, ये सारे भ्रष्टाचार के सामने हैं। और इसका सबसे पहले जो शुरुआत की वो बाबा रामदेव जी ने की। उन्होंने भ्रष्टाचार के विरुद्ध जिस प्रकार का देश के अंदर कॉन्शियसनेस, जिस प्रकार की सोच ले आए हैं, उसका फायदा हम सबको हुआ है। उसके बाद कुछ इंडिविजुअल्स हैं जैसे कि सुब्रमण्यम स्वामी हैं और विनोद राय जी हैं और सरोज कपाड़िया जी के आने के बाद जो कोर्ट ने जिस प्रकार का एक्टिविज्म किया है ये बहुत सराहनीय है। अन्ना हजारे जी ने लोगों को जागरूक किया। हम यही कहते हैं कि एक हमारा गोल होता है, गोल है जन लोकपाल, लेकिन उद्देश्य जो है वो है लोक जन जागृति। और इस जन जागृति इस देश में ऐसी हुई है जो आज तक कभी इतिहास में नहीं हुई है। इस भ्रष्टाचार के विरुद्ध लड़ने के लिए हर प्रकार के ग्रुप्स, हर प्रकार के इंडिविजुअल्स का बहुत बड़ा योगदान है। हम ये मानते हैं कि इसमें जो हमारे 5 पिलर्स होते हैं डेमोक्रेसी के, जो 5 स्तंभ होते हैं, लेजिस्लेटिव यानी कि पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स, ऑफिसर्स, जुडिशरी, मीडिया और सिविल सोसाइटी, ये सब अपने अपने तरीके से अगर लड़े तो मुझे लग रहा है चारों तरफ से हम इस भ्रष्टाचारियों को घेर सकेंगे और ये देश भ्रष्टाचार से मुक्त होने की उम्मीद बढ़